One of the most legendary battles in shinobi history is the battle between Hashirama Senju and Madara Uchiha, two of the founders of Konoha, one of the first hidden villages. Despite being a founder, Madara was completely distrusted by everyone. He was not satisfied with Hashirama's vision of peace through cooperation, favoring instead his own plan of peace via the infinite Tsukuyomi. After leaving the village and later returning, the inevitable clash with Hashirama occurred. As we know, Hashirama won, forcing Madara to fake his death and go into hiding. However, what if this never happened? What if Madara managed to kill Hashirama? How would the Naruto story change? Would it be for better or for worse? In today's episode of What If, we're going to explore just that scenario. So without further ado, let's get started. Madara's ascension to power. After defeating Hashirama, Madara wouldn't waste any time asserting his authority over Konoha. Known for his strategic acumen and uncompromising leadership style, as seen during his time as the clan head of the Uchihas, Madara would likely consolidate power swiftly. His vision for the village was fundamentally different from Hashirama's, favoring the strength and supremacy of the Uchiha clan over the collaborative and balanced approach that Hashirama had implemented with the village's founding. Madara is no stranger to executing bold and harsh measures to maintain control. In the manga, he was prepared to go to great lengths, including manipulating Obito and initiating wars to achieve his goals. In this alternate scenario, he would begin by neutralizing any internal opposition. This would involve dismantling the existing administrative structures and replacing them with ones loyal to him, purging the village of any remaining Senju influence or those sympathetic to Hashirama's ideals. Under Madara's rule, Konoha would transform into a totalitarian regime centered around Uchiha leadership. This shift would reflect Madara's belief in the superiority of his clan and his personal leadership, as was his attempt with the Tsukuyomi project, to create an ideal world under his control. The governance of the village would likely involve heavy surveillance, strict law enforcement by Uchiha police forces, and a significant reduction in personal freedoms and rights. The Senju, known for their leadership in the establishment of Konoha and their role in promoting peace, would see their influence rapidly decline. With Hashirama's death, they would lose their most powerful advocate and leader. Madara would ensure the clan's influence in political, military, and social spheres is curtailed to prevent any future challenges to his rule. It's plausible that key figures within the Senju clan would either be assassinated or forced into exile to avoid any semblance of revolt. This tactic was hinted at in Madara's past actions, where he showed no hesitation in eliminating threats to his goals. Members of the Senju clan could end up scattered, hiding, or forming underground movements, much like the Uchiha were dealt with in the original timeline under different circumstances. The surviving members of the Senju clan might seek alliances with other villages or rogue groups, much like the various coalitions seen throughout the Naruto series when major threats emerge, e.g. the formation of the Shinobi Alliance against the Akatsuki. These alliances would be crucial not only for survival, but potentially to mount a resistance against Madara's regime. Their deep-rooted connections with other clans and villages, thanks to Hashirama's earlier diplomatic efforts, might aid them in this endeavor. Military buildup and ninja reorganization. Following his takeover, Madara would likely bolster the military prowess of the Uchiha clan. This would involve advanced training regimes, focusing on the Sharingan's capabilities, enhanced battle tactics, and possibly even the development of new jutsu that leverage the unique abilities of the Uchiha. Given Madara's historical emphasis on strength and military might as seen during the Uchiha's prominence, this move would solidify his and his clan's dominance in Konoha. Madara's control over Konoha would be further solidified through the reorganization of the village's elite and regular ninja forces. The Anbu Black Ops, previously a neutral force serving the Hokage, would now operate under direct Uchiha oversight, possibly purged and restaffed with Uchiha loyalists or those bound by absolute loyalty to Madara. Regular forces would also see a shift in leadership, with Uchiha clan members placed in critical command positions, ensuring that all military actions align with Madara's objectives. One of the Uchiha clan's greatest assets is the Sharingan, a dojutsu eye technique that offers various combative and strategic advantages. Madara, known for his mastery of the Sharingan, would employ it not just in battle, but as a tool for intelligence gathering and psychological warfare. This could involve reading the enemy's movements and strategies, controlling opponents' minds, similar to techniques used by other Sharingan users like Itachi's Tsukuyomi, and even manipulating memories, thus destabilizing opposition without direct conflict. Madara's ambitions wouldn't be confined to Konoha alone. His strategy would likely extend to neighboring villages, either through outright domination or coerced alliances. The initial phases might involve diplomatic overtures that quickly sour into threats or demonstrations of military might, leveraging the enhanced capabilities of the Uchiha-led forces to press smaller villages into subservience. Smaller villages and clans, particularly those without the protection of one of the major villages, would be prime targets for annexation. Madara would either integrate them into Konoha's administrative fold, exploiting their resources and manpower, or obliterate them as a display of power and a warning to other potential resistors. Larger and more established villages, such as Tsunagakure, the Hidden Sand, and Kumogakure, the Hidden Cloud, would pose significant challenges to Madara's expansionist policies. Historical precedents in the manga show that both villages have at times stood in opposition to major threats. Therefore, Madara would prepare for military campaigns against these powers. These campaigns could involve a mix of traditional warfare, psychological operations aimed at undermining leadership, and strategic alliances with other disgruntled factions within these villages. One of Madara's primary tactics, as shown in the manga, involves using fear and control to maintain order. By employing the Sharingan and other Uchiha-specific abilities, Madara would likely establish a surveillance state within Konoha. Techniques like the Sharingan could be used to monitor, manipulate, and even repress the population, particularly focusing on any dissenting voices that could threaten his regime. Education would be a critical front for Madara's propaganda. This rewriting of history would help legitimize his rule and diminish the legacy of the Senju and their contributions to the village's founding. The Five Kage Summit, a critical platform for discussing peace and cooperation among the major ninja villages, would likely fall apart under Madara's rule. With the balance of power drastically shifted towards Konohagakure, now dominated by the Uchiha, the other Kages would see the summit as less of a neutral ground and more of a tool for Madara's expansionist policies. As villages pull out to reassess their positions and strategies, and in response to Madara's aggressive policies and the potential threat he poses, other villages would ramp up their military capabilities, espionage activities would spike, with villages spying on Konoha and each other to gauge intentions and prepare for possible invasions or defenses, mirroring the mistrust and preparation seen during the lead-up to the Fourth Great Ninja War in the manga. But as Madara's regime begins to exert pressure on neighboring regions, several smaller clans and nations, those not strong enough to confront Madara's military directly, might form resistance. This scenario echoes the formation of the allied shinobi forces in the manga, where desperate groups united against a common enemy. Key figures in these resistant movements could include remnants of the Senju clan, and potentially other Kages who oppose Madara's authoritarian rule. These leaders, with their significant combat experience and strategic minds, would be crucial in organizing the resistance and posing a credible threat to Madara's ambitions. The resistance movements and Madara's aggressive expansion would likely escalate into continental shinobi wars. These conflicts would be larger and potentially more devastating than any previously seen. Villages and coalitions would be drawn into the fray, choosing sides based on strategic alliances. As desperation grows, both sides might resort to using forbidden jutsu and mass-destructive weapons. Madara, who has previously shown no hesitation in using such techniques, including the Gedo statue and various forms of Sharingan's capabilities, would likely deploy these powerful and often indiscriminate weapons. Similarly, the resistance might unseal dangerous techniques in a bid to counter Madara's might, potentially leading to catastrophic consequences, reminiscent of the use of the tailed beast in the manga's Great Wars. Madara's Moon's Eye plan, a scheme to cast the infinite Tsukuyomi and place all humanity under his control in a dream world, is central to his ideology in the manga. Without Hashirama's opposition, Madara would have a clearer path to implementing this plan. Free from immediate threats and bolstered by control over Konoha, he could focus resources and research on completing the Eye of the Moon plan. His increased power base would likely accelerate the timeline for its activation, facing less resistance both politically and militarily. The success of the Moon's Eye plan would hinge on Madara's ability to gather all the tailed beasts, a task made easier with the might of Konoha under his command and his strategic genius unimpeded by rival Kage's interference. Should Madara succeed in casting the infinite Tsukuyomi, the entire world's population would be enveloped in an illusion, living out their ideal lives in a dream state. This would effectively neutralize any physical opposition to his rule. Let's see several possible endings to Madara's reign that could be considered. First, just as the manga explores themes of betrayal and shifting loyalties, Madara's rule could end from within, perhaps from a close confidant, or a new Uchiha rising against his tyranny. Second, Although the infinite Tsukuyomi is global, extraterrestrial, or other dimensional interventions, as the manga later introduces concepts like Kaguya and the Otsutsuki clan, could provide a narrative twist, offering a new battleground. Alternatively, Madara's regime might collapse due to the inherent unstable nature of totalitarian control, especially if the illusion falters or critical resources like chakra become overdepleted. And that's where I'm going to leave off this latest episode of What If Madara Killed Hashirama. But let us know in the comments below what you think would happen if Madara killed Hashirama. Are you curious for more Naruto content? Well, that's the subject of this other video. Click on this video to see what if Naruto loses against Sasuke in the final battle. Go ahead, click it.